Good evening. Thanks for joining me for the 10 o'clock Source 16 News. I'm Tammy Hancock. Topping our news this hour, the superintendent of the North Marshall Water District in Benton is behind bars for allegedly pocketing thousands of dollars to be used for water district services. 33-year-old James Bradley Anderson was arrested today after being indicted by the Marshall County Grand Jury on a single charge of theft by unlawful taking over $500. Kentucky State Police say that in mid-November they received an anonymous complaint regarding the alleged misuse of the water district's funds. After a lengthy investigation, state police determined that Anderson withheld over $4,000 in payments for water district services. In addition, the investigation revealed that Anderson kept a majority of the payment in cash and deposited the rest into his personal banking account. Anderson is lodged in the Marshall County Detention Center. A horrific find was made out of Benton earlier this week. We want to warn you that some of the pictures we're about to show are graphic. As a resident was driving home on a back road, he noticed a dog lying on the side of the road.
And he didn't know if it was deceased at the time. He stopped to make sure it didn't need medical assistance, found out that it was in fact deceased. And when he got to looking around the area, he located 3 other animal carcasses, one which was still intact. Initially, when he called me, I had detectives come out and take a look, and they determined that they really couldn't see that the animals had been killed on site.
Officials noticed the animals had scarring and appeared to have their teeth filed as well as removed. The editor of MarshallCountyDaily.com told Source16 this is commonly known to be used in dog fighting operations.
There's never been any sort of a large bust, but there have been things that have led us to believe that this has been going on for some time, probably on a smaller scale. But what is concerning to several of these organizations is that the number is spiking. You're seeing boxers, pit bulls, all these types stolen right off their collars, middle of the day, which some of these thefts are becoming a little more brazen. And so that's usually not a good sign, so we're going to try to thwart it.
Because there is a limited amount of information in this case, officials haven't determined if a crime has been committed and no charges have been filed. If you have any information regarding this incident, please contact the Marshall County Humane Society at 270-354-8738. One coal miner has been treated and released from the hospital, and a second miner is being held for observation after a blast at a coal mine in Hopkins County this morning. Alliance Coal Company General Manager Heath Lovell told Source16 News that a drill rig was in the process of drilling a hole from the surface to intersect a worked-out area within the Warrior coal mine when a pocket of gas was encountered at a depth of about 420 feet, which was about 300 feet above the mine workings. According to Lovell, the gas was ignited and subsequently burned the drill rig, and 2 drillers received minor injuries. The explosion occurred around 5 o'clock this morning, and the Hopkins County Sheriff's Department, Fire Department personnel, and the Medical Center ambulance responded to the mine at the intersection of Wolf Hollow and Blockhouse Roads, about 5 miles north of Madisonville. The 2 miners were transported by ambulance to Regional Medical Center in Madisonville. Warrior Coal is a subsidiary of Alliance Coal, LLC, and employs about 381 workers. Difficult decisions and concrete solutions. That was the topic of U.S. Senator Rand Paul's speech at the weekly Kiwanis Club meeting today. Paul referred to Secretary of Defense Robert Gates' recent statement saying the #1 threat to national security is our national debt.
We have a national debt of $14 trillion. If we do nothing, if we keep on this glide path and do nothing, entitlements and interest will consume the entire debt within a few years.
Paul says the nation needs to be bold when addressing these big issues, adding that the nation is in the worst recession since the Great Depression. But to be able to overcome these issues, Paul says it's important to understand where the problem started.
It's important to delve into these details because it's which direction do you want to take? Did capitalism fail and we need more government? Or did government fail and we need less government? And it's really important which direction we take. I think we have too much government. But see, a lot of the people in power now went the opposite way.
Obamacare was another topic Paul touched on, saying the plan will actually increase health care costs instead of reducing them. He also suggested raising the age of Social Security eligibility.
You know, in 1984, we did it under Reagan. We raised the Social Security age from 65 to 67, and it's just now coming to a conclusion. We raised it 1 month a year. So it takes 12 years for it to go up 1 year. Could we not simply be brave enough to say we can do that. You know, we're at 67 now. If you just next year said go up a month a year, and then you say, well, there's some people who depend completely on Social Security. Well, maybe we make some exemptions for those at the very bottom.
The quick stop at the Kiwanis meeting in Hopkinsville was the senator's first speech to a civic club since he started his term almost 2 weeks ago. Jury selection and open arguments were made in Christian County Circuit Court this morning in the murder trial of a Clarksville man accused of drunk driving and killing a Fort Campbell soldier. 21-year-old Antoine Rouse sat quietly as Assistant Commonwealth's Attorney Whitney Westerfield spoke to jurors about how Oak Grove officers investigated the February 16, 2010 fatal wreck.
They start to think and see factors that suggest maybe this is a DUI investigation. They perform field sobriety tests. You'll get to see those as well. There were 3. Mr. Rouse passed the first one, saying his alphabet from G to Q. It helps that it was said to him before he said it, but he passed that one. He failed one where he had to count in reverse. You'll see that. And you'll see the HGN, or the horizontal gaze nystagmus test. It's a mouthful. And you'll learn about what it's looking for and how it is he didn't succeed at that.
Meanwhile, Rouse's defense attorney, Brandy McIndowney, described the State Line and Pembroke Road, Oak Grove Road fatal wreck as a tragic but unavoidable crash.
That when Mr. Rogers made that left-hand turn onto Pembroke Road, that collision was going to happen. That accident was going to happen. And no amount of trying to swerve or get out of it was going to happen. I submit to you, this is an accident, ladies and gentlemen. This is not murder. This is not wanton murder.
According to Oak Grove Police, 23-year-old Joshua Rogers was killed instantly. In addition to murder, Rouse is charged with DUI, leaving the scene of an accident, and driving without a valid driver's license. The trial is scheduled to continue tomorrow. 4 of 5 Cerulean teens were formally sentenced today in connection with a series of Amish and Mennonite robberies last year. 19-year-old Level Washington was sentenced to 20 years after pleading guilty to 9 counts of facilitation to robbery and burglary, wanton endangerment, tampering with physical evidence, and evading police. Washington reportedly acted as the driver in the burglaries. 17-year-old Sergio Del Angel was sentenced to 10 years after pleading guilty to 1 count of robbery and burglary in the 2nd degree, wanton endangerment, tampering with evidence, and evading police. 16-year-old Raul Hernandez was sentenced to 25 years after pleading guilty to 9 counts of robbery, burglary, and wanton endangerment, and 1 count of tampering with evidence and evading police. 16-year-old Daniel Martinez was sentenced to 20 years for 8 counts of robbery, burglary, and 1 count of tampering with physical evidence. Judge John Adkins decided to defer 18-year-old Dacry Scott's sentencing after receiving a letter from Scott saying he felt he was misled by his lawyer in his plea bargain. Judge Adkins decided to forward the sentencing decision to Judge Self, which will happen later this month. The judge also denied all requests for probation due to the nature of the crimes the group committed. The 5 were arrested last February in connection with 9 robberies of Amish and Mennonite homes in Christian and Todd counties. Police say the group stole cash and guns and fired shots into the rooms of some of the homes. A warrant was recently issued for a Fort Campbell soldier who reportedly intimidated his wife and then allegedly threatened to harm their dogs. Clarksville police issued the warrant for 23-year-old Dirk Allen Thurlman of Needmore Road after he allegedly intimidated his wife with a 12-inch hunting knife during an argument about divorce. According to the arrest warrant, the 2nd Brigade Combat Team soldier also allegedly threatened to, quote, cut their dogs up. Thurlman, who is home on mid-tour leave, reportedly left the apartment and headed to Ohio, and a warrant was issued for his arrest. A former student that allegedly sent a threatening letter to Austin Peay State University that forced a campus alert last night has been admitted for a psychiatric evaluation at a local hospital. Campus spokeswoman Melanie Schimberger confirmed today that the campus alert was issued, adding that anytime there was a situation that could affect the individuals on campus, officials take all steps to ensure their safety. She says they have been fully cooperating with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations. Ex-student Cliff Richard Guthrie, who was enrolled at the university for the fall 2010 semester, reportedly stated in a letter to the university, quote, I am forced to engage in a civic action that will be readily perceived as a crime that is heinous, premeditated, racial, and anti-American. Guthrie told the Leaf Chronicle during a telephone interview that he planned to burn his car in garbage bins at Public Square in protest of being involved in a socioeconomic and political experiment that's unfolding in Clarksville. TBI spokeswoman Kristen Helm told Source16 News today that agents interviewed the former student this morning and he was voluntarily committed to Gateway Hospital in Clarksville for psychological evaluation. A Montgomery County nonprofit organization is $1,000 richer thanks to Murray State University. Murray State officials awarded newly formed Montgomery County Friends of the Shelter with a generous donation this afternoon at the Montgomery County Animal Control and Adoption Services office. The check is the second place prize for MSU student Cassandra Dixon, who wrote an essay about her internship experience with the nonprofit organization for a student philanthropy course project. Dixon spoke to Source16 about how happy she is to help out the small animal-friendly organization.
I'm a big animal lover, so just knowing that the money goes towards helping the animals in Montgomery County, it feels good that I did something to help out so substantially.
The money will be used to help place animals into rescue homes and will also help fund future awareness programs. Well, to speed up the construction process of the US 41 alternate widening project, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet is dividing it into two phases. Spokesman Keith Todd says Phase 1 will involve widening US 41A from US 41 Main Street in Madisonville to near Lake Pee Wee Road. He adds that Phase 2 will include US 41A from Lake Pee Wee Road to Industrial Road. According to Todd, the total project covers nearly 4 miles of US 41A. District 2 Chief Engineer Kevin McClure says the change will allow construction of Phase 1 to begin in late 2013 or early 2014, about 8 to 12 months sooner than expected. He estimates the letting of Phase 2 would likely come about 2 to 18 months after the letting of Phase 1. Taking a look at Friday's Mega Millions jackpot, it's up to $30 million, and Saturday's Powerball jackpot is $82 million.